So I just wanted to give like a real quick rundown of some like extremely basic cooking stuff, like tips and etc. that I've learned, like mostly materials and shopping techniques, more so than like actual cooking techniques for stuff like that. I would go to YouTube and find proper recipe, like YouTubers. There's plenty of people out there who will teach you basic stuff like that. I just want to go over some like extremely simple things like save money that like my grandma taught me, and like basic tools that you'll need. So like to start out, I would probably recommend getting a stainless steel turner. These are like 20, 30 bucks. They will last you forever. And you can use it to scrape like stainless steel pans. You can use it to flip stuff. They're very thin, so they're really good for like flipping things that otherwise would be pretty hard to flip. Um, I would recommend getting at least one very nice chef's knife. Just like one, just spend $200 one time. I know it'll take a bit to save up. In the meantime, you can use a cheap one, but get yourself one nice chef's knife. That's all you'll need. I recommend Shun, Global, or Wusthof. Those are like three big names that will last you forever. They have lifetime warranties generally, or long, very long warranties. Um, Aside from that, pay as little as you possibly can for every other knife because it really doesn't matter unless you're doing deboning or something like that. But you're not doing that because you're just learning how to cook, so no problem. Um, I would also get a silicone spatula, which is one of these doohickeys right here. That is extremely useful for making like sauces, etc. Um, I just really like them. They're really handy. Next up is a stainless steel pan. These are absurdly good. They're a little more expensive, but you will get more value out of a stainless steel pan than you will out of a nonstick pan almost 100% of the time, because you can use these things. I guess to put it simply, they'll last longer than you will. Um, they're very good. You can cook anything in them. They do stick a little bit more than nonstick, but not too much. You have to preheat it. Everything will release just fine, especially if you're using that really good spatula. Um, what else was there? Oh yeah, basically you can just beat them up and they'll last you forever. I recommend getting two, like maybe like an 8-inch and 12-inch. That'd be good. And then one singular nonstick pan. Just one. I use this for cooking eggs, omelets, stuff like that. It really helps for that. Um, that's about it. I don't really use them a whole lot aside from that. And if you're using a nonstick pan, you want to use that rubber spatula that I was talking about because it's really good for not damaging those, because you don't want to damage nonstick coating. It will probably give you cancer or something. And it also flakes off and looks nasty in your food, so don't do that. Um, Next up would be an air fryer. I highly recommend getting an air fryer. You probably have an oven if you have a house or like live with somebody, but and you can use ovens just fine. But an air fryer is like that, but smaller and faster and more energy efficient. I personally use a $30 Toastmaster from Walmart. That price may vary based on what I've seen, between $30 to $50. Specifically, this one. It's basically all I've needed for the past 2 years for cooking most of my main courses, a lot of my vegetables. Basically, the gist of what you want to do with an air fryer is you want to cook, like, pick one thing out of your meal, and you're going to cook a decent amount of it, and that's going to be your air fryer thing. Like you want to make like meat or something. Like you want to make like some pork tenderloins or whatever. You put that in the air fryer. You wrap that in aluminum foil. You let that cook. You can make like in this one you can make like two. That's enough for like one or two people. Bigger ones can hold more. And then you let that cook in the air fryer about 25 minutes until it is done. And while you're doing that, you can do other things like prepping your vegetables or thawing stuff out. And I wanted to bring up frozen food as a big, like a big way to save money. Like this is, I think, the most important thing to take away from this is buy like giant, like whole pieces of meat if it's on sale and cut and portion it yourself. That's basically where I save most of my money is I'll go to the store and I will see what's on sale. Like they have a big like pork tenderloin. It's like $5 or something. You grab that, you come home, you cut that into little like pieces, and then you seal it in either a vacuum sealed bag or a Ziploc bag. And you put that in your freezer. You lay them all flat individually and you put that in your freezer. I'll lay it flat if you can. And what that will do is it'll make it very easy for you to like wedge off one or two when you need it. And then you can cook them a lot faster. You can thaw them out maybe like 2 minutes, etc. And sometimes, depending on the meat, you can sometimes even cook it frozen in the pan if it's really thin. Usually I don't cut it that thin, but sometimes you can. If it's in the air fryer, you probably could. You just leave it on a little longer. Something that's not on the slides, I just realized, but you absolutely must get a meat thermometer. A meat thermometer. They're like $10, $15. Get a digital one, stick it in there, instant read. It will tell you the temperature of the meat. I don't have all the meat temperatures listed here because there's too many. Just Google it. That'll be probably the first result. Don't listen to the AI thing because you probably will get salmonella or whatever. Look for like an actual chef. But yeah. The main thing with freezer stuff is use a first in, first out method for when you're putting stuff in there. That will help you avoid freezer burn, especially if you're using Ziplocs. Because Ziplocs, they break the seal on the meat, makes it a lot easier to freezer burn. However, if you use first in, first out, which is you put in, like, as you put stuff in, you put it towards the back and you pull the stuff you put in recently, or that you put in last, you pull that towards the front. And so you have that stuff there so that you can then pull it out first. Some basic vegetables you could get. I really like broccoli, green peppers, root vegetables, cauliflower, and specifically organic heirloom tomatoes. I don't like raw tomatoes, but I do like these. That's how I know they're good. If you have a local farmer's market, go there. It'll be about the same price as buying organic food at your local supermarket, but it'll generally be higher quality. This is a continuation of the frozen food from before. You kind of want to avoid buying pre-made frozen food like TV dinners, etc., because if you're not into cooking, you probably don't have a dedicated freezer for all your food. So that means you're living with this much space. This is your fridge. So all the space up here, this is your freezer. This is where you're going to store all of your stuff. And you need to make use of that space as much as you can. And that means don't keep a bunch of stuff in there that you're just going to be lazy with and spend a bunch of money on. This is for saving money, not spending money. You can like occasionally buy like some like chicken wings or whatever that you can cook in the air fryer. Those are like generally okay. They're not too expensive, but like just be smart about it if you do. Be space efficient. Try and utilize your space by stacking things in a good way. A lot of these bag things are not efficient and they don't fit very well. Thawing, I brought this up a little bit earlier, but thawing is the most time consuming process when it comes to frozen food. And it's the reason a lot of people don't like freezing their food and they like buying fresh because they don't have to thaw it. But if you pre-portion, it makes it a lot easier to thaw later. So I definitely recommend doing that. If it's with steak, I wouldn't put it in the microwave. With chicken or pork, it's a lot less volatile, I would say. So you could probably microwave that a little bit. Just be careful when you microwave it because it'll get really tough if you overheat it in the microwave. You want to make sure you're using a low temp for that. Um, Rice is very important as a staple. I don't eat a whole lot of rice myself currently, but it is absolutely one of my favorite foods, just because it's so simple to make and it's so good. The number one best rice cooker that I can recommend is a Zojirushi. This specific one right here, the NSRPC 1017. It is a little over $120, I think, new. You can get these used. Keep your eye out at Goodwill, etc. for these. They're very, like, they're not common, but they're not rare at those places, and they're very good. And these will last you for 20 plus years probably. I got mine used at the time. It was 15 years old. I've had it for 5 years, and I used it daily for several years. Yeah, so in terms of actual rice, I really like this Botan rice, if you have it available. Basically, just buy a 10-pound bag of rice. You'll use it. It's bulk. It never really goes bad. Just do that. It's efficient. This stuff, I just wanted to kind of add this on. This is furikake. It is a type of it's like a seasoning for rice. You can find it at Asian food markets, and you can put it on your rice and just tastes good. There's a bunch of different flavors. I really like this one. This is like a salmon one. I definitely recommend that. For sauce, just buy pre-made sauce. If you're starting out cooking, you're not gonna really know what you like. You're not gonna want know. You're not gonna want to invest the time in like learning how to make all these sauces unless you already know what you like. So just kind of like buy some pre-made sauces, get some meat, get some vegetables, throw it in a pan. Once the stuff's cooked, put some sauce on it. See how you like it. If you like it, that's awesome. You spent like $2 to test that, and you find out you like that flavor, and then you can go and learn how to make like your own sauces. There's plenty of guides on YouTube about how to do that. I recommend buying pre-made sauces. They're not going to be as good as homemade, of course, but if you find one of these that you like, and then you make a really good one, you're going to like it even more. So I recommend this. It's relatively cheap. Sauces are probably one of the things that are not like heavily inflated by food prices for whatever reason, like spaghetti sauce, etc. Like the curry sauces you can get at Aldi, they're all like $1.50 to $2 to $3 depending on the quality. This is an extremely biased basic spice list. This is stuff that I use the most often. You got salt, you got pepper, put it on everything. If it's savory, it goes good. Onion powder, I would say put this on mostly everything. Put this on everything's a bit of a stretch, but like if you're cooking it in a pan or cooking it in an air fryer, it can probably benefit from onion powder. Garlic powder, if you really like garlic, you put this on everything. Paprika, I like to put it on eggs, chicken, breaded stuff like was like schnitzel. You can kind of like some sort of like breaded pork or chicken. It goes really well with that. Cayenne, honestly very similar to paprika. I don't really. They have a different flavor, but they occupy a very similar space for me. Rosemary is probably one of the weirdest ones on this, but I highly recommend putting it on like dark meats like beef and lamb if you like those types of meats. It adds a lot of flavor. It goes very good with butter and garlic. Also, this is a very important note. I go to Asian and Hispanic supermarkets sometimes because they have not only like cheaper spices, they also sell them in larger bulk quantities. Like I have a tub of like turmeric that's like this big, and I just like scoop like teaspoons of that out into stuff, and it's just so much better. It's peak. Just do it if you have it available. I think that's basically it. I just kind of wanted to go over some of that stuff because like a lot of people don't really know where to start with cooking, and like this will at least get you like pick up a few things to mess around with. I like to watch on YouTube. It's like Adam Ragusa does a lot of videos. 18th Century Cooking by Townsend's. A little less practical, but you learn a lot of like flavors and stuff like that. I think that's about it. That's hopefully that helped some people. All right, thank you.